Hello and welcome. My name is Andrew Coleman, and today we're going to be chatting about winning over asymmetry or winning asymmetry, sort of a play on words there. This picture on the left has popped up in my LinkedIn feed a number of times during just the past month. I think it's twice in the past week from various thought leaders and people that I'm connected with on LinkedIn. And this picture is a visual representation of the communications formula, which I have up here in the headline, n times n minus 1 divided by 2. And when you do that, you get the resulting pictures here on the left. Now, there's an underlying assumption in this formula that communications are perfect. And this results in the beautiful symmetry displayed in the picture here on the left. And by the way, this is a really great picture for demonstrating how things get complicated very quickly. But I believe it oversimplifies the chaos and complexity that we're facing when we're trying to influence the direction of an organization. The reality is not everyone is willing to give or receive communication and then make a new decision, that is, change their minds based on new information. So I believe that's one additional facet that needs to be added to this formula, but I'm not a mathematician, so I'm not even going to try. And the same for the next bullet point here is there's no asymmetry factored into the communication because in the real world, things are not this perfectly balanced. And these pictures assume there's no noise between the nodes and that everybody's communication capabilities are equal. They're not. The connections are asymmetrical due to imbalances in power, communication, politics, and capabilities. So as I was preparing some new slides for our new look and feel for Guerilla Leadership, I noticed that everybody thinks that their individual triangle over here on the left, that it's perfectly balanced. Newsflash, it's not. As it gets even more complicated as we get into the teams because everybody's triangles are different. And it's the areas of overlap where both communication and friction occur in our teams and products and programs and projects, or however you structure your work. There's a lot of communication and friction that happens where people are overlapping. When you start to layer multiple teams into the organization, then you can see it becomes very noisy, complex, and chaotic very quickly. So this is a slightly different view than the picture on the previous slide, with the intent of communicating to you, it's not what we think. So how do we mitigate this? With Guerilla Leadership, we have 18 mindsets that we use to mitigate all of this. And you'll notice that we have the triangles down here. We're going to go through those in just a minute. And first, I'll take you through the 4 lenses, which is our first mindset. And the other 17 mindsets we'll be going through one by one in the coming month or two with videos with myself and possibly with some of the other coaches and trainers. So we have 4 areas: the individual, team, product, which includes program, process, project, line management, any other management that you can think of. It's all in that corner there. And in the upper right corner, the organization, that includes portfolio level on up through to the C-suite. And the reality is asymmetries abound in all 4 areas. A lot of us can't even agree with ourselves. So it's no wonder we have friction on our teams. But as we were looking at this, we're going to share another video on these subpoints here. regarding leadership and power, collaboration, which includes communication and language, getting understanding and agreement, and commitment. Those are actually three different things. And then also that taps into governance, planning, and budgets. And so this isn't your typical agile view. We can leverage the asymmetry that we are running into. This is really theories of constraints. And I think we may have tapped into one of the key constraints that for the last, I don't know how many decades that they've been talking about theories of constraints. But I think we've tapped into a key constraint, and that's asymmetry, and that people aren't the same. We're all unique. And so we need to look at this from a leadership perspective, a management perspective, and a team perspective, even an individual perspective, because teams are made up of people. So when we're looking at people, individuals, the asymmetries are the person's vision, also where they're at spiritually or emotionally or whatnot. We have ways of figuring out where they're at, and we have those included in the mindsets. People all don't have the same mental capabilities. We all definitely don't all have the same physical capabilities. And some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. We all don't have the same social capabilities. And so the shape of everybody's triangle, as I mentioned earlier, it's not as balanced as we think it is. So we have 6 mindsets that deal with this. And the first one is the 4R model. We use that in reverse to figure out what people's values and attitudes and even what their truth is. And if we know those two, then we can help guide their actions and hopefully get the results that we want. Already talked about the 4 lenses. You notice that we have the aha curve here, and this is for the individual's journey coming up the curve. And then over here, we have it for the team or the social part of it, where we're measuring all 4 areas. And then in the roles, we've got, your typical agile coach or scrum master or coach, and then executive coach. And then over here, we talk a little bit about profiles, but we don't dwell on it a lot. Because we have ways to mitigate that and help people in their journeys. The team asymmetries are very similar to the individual ones. It deals with language, mind, and plan. We want everyone speaking the same language as much as possible. And again, vision is in the center. And if we've got people speaking the same language, we have a chance of getting everybody to agree and distill agreement and become one mind without kicking in groupthink. We have ways to prevent that as well. And then for the plan, if we get these first 2 right, we should be able to deliver a plan that is flexible, agile, and that can pivot on a dime. Because no plan survives the first 5 minutes of battle. And so we have 3 tools or mindsets here in the middle. The 4D model, define, distill, deliver, drive, and distillation is distilling agreement. The friction analysis, that's a very fast way of figuring out exactly where individuals and teams are at. And then are they in flow or anti-flow? If your teams are in anti-flow, you're not going to be able to deliver. So we have ways of measuring this as well. For the product and organization portions or corners in the circle, there are 4 asymmetries there as well. Those occur in the business area, and that includes content. It occurs in the technology area, and that includes tools. And in the relationships area, that also includes communications. So we have 9 mindsets for these 2 areas. And so I just combined it into a single slide. And again, we have the 4A model, assess, align, activate, and accelerate. We have the VSPT model from West Point Military Academy. Our ideas on cascading vision. Cascading's okay, but only if you can link it back from the team to the next level up and so on. We talk about culture, we talk about anticipatory vision, and we also factor in the Stacy diagram or Cynefin, if you want to look at it that way. But I have the Cynefin going opposite direction because typically the chaos always begins at the organizational level. Over here, we've got operational excellence, and that includes agile coaching and consulting. And so a lot of times people don't want to look at both of those. And then over here on the left side with agile coaching, we've got vision and innovation. For the products, we have the 4 whys. For the stakeholders, we have a very unique way of doing stakeholder management, and that includes does the stakeholder not just have an interest? Are they actually going to put any effort in? So that's 2 layers right there. And then on top of that, we factor in, does the stakeholder like you? So we use a plus, minus, and 0 system. So are they positive, neutral, or negative? And then down here in the corner, we have a way to measure all of this. We measure health, we measure throughput, we measure the results. Are we getting what we set out to do? And so that's it. I've covered the first area here a little bit. We'll actually do a separate video on that one. And we covered the 3 triangles that are underpinning everything that we're doing with the individual, teams, products, and the organization. Thanks for stopping by today. If you'd like a copy of this presentation or would like to chat, feel free to reach out to me at my website, andrewcoleman.com. You can also get a hold of me on LinkedIn. I am pretty much an open networker on LinkedIn as long as everybody behaves. And I usually respond relatively fast on LinkedIn. That's it for today, and looking forward to the next time. Thanks, everybody.